This story took place on Thanksgiving. I should probably mention the fact that I was 20 years old around the time of this story. My family and I always host a large Thanksgiving party. This year we wanted to invite our entire family and have a large table full of food for everyone. At around 4 p.m., the first of my relatives arrived at the house. They also brought food with them. After some time, the rest of my relatives arrived, and we all sat down to have the Thanksgiving dinner. This was always a special moment, and a family tradition. After the dinner, all of my cousins gathered in my room. We were all bored, so we wanted to play hide and seek. I was the seeker first, so I decided to count to 30 seconds while the others hid. In total, there was 9 people hiding, and I was the only seeker. 28, 29, 30. Ready or not, here I come, I screamed. Then I proceeded to run up the stairs to the 3rd floor and check to see if anyone was hiding in a single bedroom. To my surprise, my sister was hiding there, so it was an easy find. As I was about to walk downstairs, I realized the door to the attic was unlocked. This meant somebody had to be hiding in the attic. So I entered and realized it was completely dark. This was a little weird, because if someone was hiding there, they would at least keep the light on. This is because the attic is fairly scary at night in the dark. Anyways, I continued to look around and search for anybody. After a little while, I could not find anyone, but that's when my eyes caught on to something. It was the old Ouija board that I threw in my attic from a couple of years ago. This brought all kinds of ideas to mind. I quickly decided to leave the attic and find everyone else. Once I found everyone, I told them the great idea to try and use the Ouija board. All of my cousins agreed, as this was the perfect way to pass the time. I led the way to the attic, as my sister and all my cousins followed me. My heart started beating a little faster now, although I'm not really sure why. Once in the attic, we all gathered around the game and put our hands on the planchette piece. I led the start of the game by spinning the planchette piece in a circle 3 times, calling out to any spirits or ghosts. Nothing seemed to happen. One of my cousins started laughing. "You think this is gonna work?" he said, laughing. I laughed as well. Imagine some ghost responds saying, "I'm here." I would die of laughter, my other cousin said. In that exact moment, we heard a loud crashing sound coming from the back of the attic. This startled everyone in the room. I quickly got up a little scared and walked to the back of the attic to investigate. There was nothing, just a hole in the attic. This hole leads to a completely closed-in part of the attic that no one ever goes inside. The only light in this part of the attic is a small lamp. As I peeked my head into the hole in the attic, I could not see anything. The light was turned off. Anyways, I walked back to the Ouija board and asked another question. "If that was you making the sound, give us another sign." This time, instantly, I heard another loud banging sound coming from the back of the basement. This time I knew it came from the hole in the wall. I got up again and walked towards the hole. Some of my cousins accompanied me towards the back of the basement. Once I leaned my head in the back room, through the hole, I saw the lamp in the room was turned on. My heart skipped a beat. We were here the entire time. There was no way anyone could have entered the room through that small hole in a matter of 2 minutes and turn on the lamp. This terrified me. I instantly climbed into the back room and walked over to the lamp. I attempted to turn the lamp off, but it wouldn't turn off. It's like the lamp was stuck. "Come back now," my sister said. I didn't argue against it, and I left the strange room. After putting away the game and leaving the attic, we decided to not tell anyone about our experience, because no one would believe us. But as we were all talking in my room, I realized that everyone started to get a horribly bad feeling as soon as I entered that room. This is why my sister told me to leave immediately. Now, I don't personally believe in ghosts or spirits, but that was one of the most terrifying things I ever experienced. This story took place on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. My best friend invited me to go to the mall with her in order to do some shopping for the holidays. I was looking to get something to decorate the outside of my house. I also wanted to get some extra Christmas decorations for the inside of my house, because I would be hosting a huge Christmas party. Anyways, one of my first stores I went to was Home Goods. This is because the store was always filled with the most random holiday-related things. I think I spent over an hour shopping, picking up things such as Christmas lights, clothes, and a wreath. My friend also bought a bunch of stuff. Once we finished, we both got in my car and started driving towards Home Depot. This is because Home Depot always has many Christmas decorations before the holidays. The drive would only be about 10 minutes. As soon as I entered my car and started driving, I could see someone tailgating me. I always hate when people do that, so I made sure to keep my eye on the car. After a while, I saw that the car was following me, so I decided to do the four-way turn. This is when you make 4 right turns. This always works because if you make 4 right turns, you will end up in the same spot as when you started, and that's when you know someone is following you. After the 4th turn, the car was still following me. I told my friend, and she agreed it was best to get to Home Depot and enter the store as fast as we could. And that is exactly what we did. We arrived at the store and went inside. Only now, I couldn't concentrate. I was scared. My friend once again tried to reassure me that everything would be fine. After some time, I seemed to forget about the previous situation, as nothing else happened. I ended up buying some more Christmas decorations for the house, and once I was finally done, I exited the store with my friend. We were both on high alert to make sure the car was not here anymore. Luckily, the car was nowhere to be found. We both got in my car and started on our way home. As I turned into a main street, I looked behind me in the rear view mirror, and I saw the same car following me. "What the fuck?" I whispered in fear. The car seemed to have just appeared out of nowhere. My friend came up with the brilliant plan to drive towards a police station in order to inform the authorities about us being followed. The closest police station was about 1.5 miles away. My friend set up the GPS and I started following the computer. Only about 3 minutes into the drive, the car quickly sped up, bumping into the back of my car. This was extremely scary. I was so scared for my life now. Not only that, I could now see the person driving the car. It was an old man who looked to be in his 40s. Just for reference, I was an 18-year-old girl at the time. The man then continued to tailgate me and make attempts at hitting my wheel with the front of his car. I decided what we should do is call the police and tell them about the situation. We were very lucky for doing that, because as soon as the phone call was over, the man actually succeeded in hitting our tire. This caused my car to spin out of control and land in a ditch. Both my friend and I were okay from the impact of the crash. The man then stepped out of his car and got up walking towards us. I didn't know what else to do, besides pray that everything would be fine. As the man was about to reach our car, the police sirens broke the silence. This caused the man to flee the scene and drive away. Fortunately, he was not fast enough and the police caught the guy. He was arrested that same day for attempted murder and sentenced for 10 years in prison. To this day, I wonder what would have happened if we did not call the police during the car chase. For Thanksgiving, my friend and I wanted to go camping out in the woods. This is like a yearly tradition of ours, where we go camping around this time every single year. This year was no different, only this year, the camping date landed in the exact day as Thanksgiving. This did not change anything. We were just gonna bring more food with us, so that we can have a small Thanksgiving dinner in the woods. My friend owns a trailer that he uses to travel around the country at times during the year. This trailer was amazing. It has a bed, bathroom, kitchen, and shower. It is basically like a mini home, which you can travel with anywhere. When the idea to go camping in the Appalachian Mountains was brought up, I obviously agreed. My friend and I try to go somewhere different every year, and this year we decided on the Appalachian Mountains. Once the plan was set, we got everything ready. We brought lots of blankets, flashlights, and games in order to keep us busy. We also made sure to bring a lot of food to have a Thanksgiving dinner. Not only that, we brought a big 24-pack of beer to go along. This looked to be one of the best camping trips of all time, but a horrifying experience would change everything. My friend and I left the morning of Thanksgiving. The drive to the woods would take a couple hours, about 3 to be exact. We lived in Virginia at the time. Once we arrived at the woods, we made sure to set up camp. We wanted to have all the food prepared before nightfall, so we got to work. I started the grill, and we both started cooking the food. This was a new spot for us, and after we finished the food, we wanted to go exploring for a little bit. We decided we were going to walk for about 20 minutes in one direction and see what we could find. About 10 minutes into our walk, we stumbled across something weird in the woods. It was an abandoned campsite. The campsite looked to have been abandoned recently, as the fire was still burning. But the entire site looked to be trashed. There was supplies thrown everywhere. Food was spilled, and it was just like a huge mess. "What do you think happened here?" I asked. "I don't know, but it couldn't have been good," my friend replied. The way he said this sent shivers down my back. "Let's go back to the trailer," I said in a panicked voice. This is exactly what we did. Once we arrived back at the trailer, we both realized the door was wide open. "Didn't we close the door?" my friend asked. Yes, we did," I replied. My friend then ran inside, ready to confront anyone, but there was no one. Nothing seemed to be out of the ordinary. Everything seemed normal. "It must have been the wind," my friend said. "I hope so," I replied. Anyways, I then went outside, grabbed the grill, and brought everything back inside the trailer. By this time, it was getting dark outside, so my friend and I both set up the dinner table with a lot of food. I took out the beers and we sat down eating and talking. We also turned on the radio to listen to some music. As we were eating, I thought I heard a sound coming from outside the trailer. "Turn off the radio real quick," I said. "Why?" my friend asked. "Just do it," I said in an assertive voice. My friend then turned off the radio, and I listened for the same sound from earlier. Just like clockwork, I heard the exact sound. It sounded like a rock hitting the side of our trailer. "What's that sound?" I asked. "I don't know," my friend replied. I got up from the table and walked to the back of the van. The sound seemed to be louder here. I looked around the room to see what could be making that sound. What I saw next, I will never forget for the rest of my life. In the window, above the bed in the trailer, was the face of a man staring right at me. I screamed, stumbling back in fear. "Get the fuck away from the van," I screamed. My friend then came over to where I was. I realized the man was holding a rock, and he was hitting the trailer with it, causing the sound. My friend ran outside in order to assert dominance and force the guy to leave. I watched everything through the window. As soon as my friend exited the trailer, the strange-looking man turned and faced him. "Get out of here," my friend screamed. The man did not move. He instead threw a rock from his hand, hitting my friend in the face. He then charged at my friend. Luckily, my friend ran back into the trailer, flooring it out of the woods. When we reached the nearest 7-Eleven, we took a pit stop. My friend's face was bleeding pretty badly from that rock. I ended up driving from there and took him to the hospital. Luckily, he ended up being okay. I'm glad we got out of there when we did, because I'm not sure what would have happened if we decided to sleep that night.